No. I mean, just a little bit ago. I'm heading to Indianapolis tomorrow, so I'm going to try and send a text out to everyone to say, hey, what
Yeah,
about next week? What time's going to work?
Thursday
So
would be good again, probably. But well, if whatever,
yeah,
whatever you want to do.
yeah. Thursday
He's
would be great.
seeing Tommy Thayer
Oh wait,
live in
Tommy,
concert.
hang on.
Rob is
Hey,
the phone ruins my joke.
yeah,
That was a funny joke and
that
he
was
missed it. He would have laughed.
he would have laughed. This is going to be the
Oh.
cold open. We're
And like, and you know what's gonna suck is when he sits down, I'm gonna try it again and he's not gonna laugh.
no, he won't.
So I should have just left it as I like thinking he would. That would have been enough for me.
Yeah. And now I'm going to have to cut and splice and put an image of him laughing at something
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
And
something else.
there'll be a caption that comes across the screen.
Yeah.
This was what Nick's face really was.
Oh, it's just zoned in. I am gonna say it again though. When he sits down, I am gonna say.
You should.
But I'm gonna laugh during it, and then he's gonna know it's Joe. All right, comedy. Sometimes it's not meant to be. Fix it.
How are you and the lady doing?
Dude, she's good, man. She's really good. I will tell you what I'm sad about is like this I did think about for some strange reason. I was like, damn, she never got to see Kiss. Like if we would have met just a little earlier in life, maybe she would have been at a show or two, right?
Yeah.
And because it's funny, she always tells me so she's done like hip hop and jazz and everything for years. And she had a dance recital when she was like really young and like when she was in like 7th or 8th grade, and they did a tribute to Kiss. And they danced to like the big songs. It was like Detroit Rock City.
I'm sorry,
Shout
that's
It Out
it.
Loud and like Rock and Roll All Night. But like she had like the face paint on, and I'm like,
Nice.
oh man, like if only you got to see him.
I'm
Great.
sorry, I'm
These are
done.
good.
I had a customer open up a restaurant today. Not open it up. He's opening up Saturday. So I had to go there today and bring stuff in. Nobody's there. So you do the old lockbox and I was fine. I locked everything up. It was cool. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I see his wife pull up. So I pull in the street. I go, I give her a hug. We're talking. And I could have swore like she went into the lockbox and opened the door because I got a phone call and I'm walking around. So he just called me up. He's like, Nick, did you take the keys? I'm like, no. I go, so I got a little nervous because he's like, what time did you leave? Blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, let me know what's going on. So why he got up again was he called me. His wife just got home and she's got the keys.
Oh, thank
So
God.
now he's got to drive all the way from Mokina about an hour back here to put the keys back into the box because he's got a crew going there tomorrow. We got food being delivered tomorrow. So that's what that was all about. I'm sorry. Dad and I was also talking to my drug dealer.
Nice.
Tito.
Hook a
What was
brother up
his
in
name?
Ohio.
Tito.
Who?
Hook a brother.
Tito?
Well,
Tito, the king of the
he is king of the
streets.
street.
Speaking of that, no. So Rob said he's going to a show on Saturday. He's seeing fucking Tommy Thayer in concert.
Oh, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Sure. I didn't know
No,
Tommy
man, I'm
was
joking. Dude, I'm joking.
I didn't know Tommy was doing. I was gonna say I saw him the other day responding to somebody about Tommy Thayer's time.
You went with it though. It's cool that you think it would be cool. It might be cool. I don't know.
He just played with or came up on stage with somebody.
Wouldn't it be cool if he did a show, but he did like the Ace song because Ace doesn't do really any of his songs now. He does all Kiss, and Tommy actually does a show.
Tommy opens with like Into the Void.
He goes 10,000 volts.
I was looking at that Ace set list, man. He had the new song and it was like seeing a Kiss show. I'm like, holy fuck!
It was all Kiss songs.
Dude, like,
but
13 out of the 4, but out of 2, right? He's right.
So
like,
you put out a brand new album and you choose to do everything like you don't even do your own songs like Freely's Comment.
No, he didn't even. I don't even think he did like Rocket Ride. I swear.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I gotta look this up now. Hold on.
Oh, it's awful.
And then I'm gonna read it on the show. But we should talk about that. We should start, but
we could start whenever. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gold. I'm
I'll
Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley.
Oh, I needed this tonight, guys.
Yeah, so did I. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, I'll count us at 3, 2, 1.
Have you not listened to your elders, my friend?
I've listened to the elder, but I don't listen to.
Okay, you have.
Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. We're just laughing right now, folks. Hello, welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a podcast with 3 very laughy, funny. I don't know. I'm probably going to edit this out. 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers. Welcome to episode 58. 58. We're so close to 60. You can get a hold of us on all the social media outlets. We are on the X at RBTE podcast. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Right Between the Eyes podcast. We're on Instagram. You can email into the show at Right Between the Eyes podcast at gmail.com. And we're on YouTube. So if I put this up on YouTube, hello. And if it's on YouTube, it may be audio only. We'll figure that out. And you can find us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and there is no virtual merch booth store any longer. That has been taken down. I think they are rebranding and doing something. I don't know if we're part of that. So this guy is searching for something else. So if you were lucky, the few people that picked up stuff, awesome, great. But hopefully we'll have something in the future, but more on that later. I would not do this show without my 2 brothers, Mr. and Mr. That's what I about said, Mr. and Mrs. Nick and Nikko Caruso. How are you guys doing tonight from the greater Chicago area?
I'm doing good, Robert. I think you should let everybody know the Russians hacked that website, and all our Right Between the Eyes merchandise right now,
Right,
is over there. So we'll be sending you a link soon.
Well, I sold the IP for like $30, and I owed
sold it for $30.
And I owed the guy
hysterical.
29, so I made $1 out of the sale.
Oh man, I was gonna make
That's
a really.
fantastic,
How safe is this space and the listenership? Because I did just think of the funniest joke, but it's a really bad joke.
Maybe we'll put it at the end
it's
credits.
dark. Is this okay? Is this a judgment-free place?
Hey,
Yeah.
we may have a guest on, and he asked me what the language barrier was on the episode. I was like, we may have to lift it for you.
We might have to look.
We can.
So you know how you were saying that like the Russians hacked and they have all our stuff.
Right.
Like you know how when a team loses the Super Bowl and they have all the stuff planned, so they send it. So they send it to the third world countries.
They do send it to third world
honestly,
countries. Right.
could you imagine someone has
Somebody
a Right Between the Eyes shirt right now?
Somewhere in
Somebody. Oh, that's funny. Come on, I'm sorry. I couldn't not. Oh,
they got a
funny.
button or 2. I know that. They're walking around with a couple of buttons.
They got a button and a hat like RBTE. What's this?
Not knowing that it's about the rock band Kiss.
The rock band Kiss.
So if you can't tell from the start of the show, this is going to be more of a free form type of an episode.
Oh yeah.
You've seen the link, you've clicked on it, that we are talking about KISS selling the IP, the intellectual property, the music. We'll get into all that, what we think, and we can speculate and just kind of, this is almost going to be probably kind of like a round table. I imagine the conversation will probably be a little more organic, probably for the first time, us getting our feet wet again after about a month off. That rather than come in and, try and do an album review or come up with a 9 list, let's just get on the mic, chat, talk, and get reacquainted with everyone again. So we won't bury the lead. I think if we all pooled our money in Chicago, I wonder what fraction of okay, I'd be willing to spend $100. How much of that? Do we get Shandy, or is it going to be like
yeah, right? You could buy
Hooligan,
your
then she kissed me, I walk alone. But, and I said it wrong. I'm trying to tell myself to say it right. $300 million. 300. That's a chunk of change. While you guys are talking, they had a list. I'm probably not going to be able to find it. I might punch it in, or I might scroll across the screen. But they had a list the day that they sold it of other bands. I think Motley Crue had sold theirs for like 150 or something like that. I can't remember what the Beatles were. I think the Beatles were on the top of the list. I'll let you guys talk. How did you find out about the sale? of Kiss? And was there anything in the news? Like for me, I thought this not came out of the blue. They've been talking about it for a while, but I felt like I woke up one day and got ready for work and I was like, holy crap. Did I miss a memo? So let me kick it over to Nico. What did you think and how'd you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard about it. One of you put it in the chat, I think first, that I was like, oh wow, they finally did it. But like you said, like we've been thinking they were. I'll be honest, I don't like when anytime like a group, like anytime there's like IP sold, like I don't comprehend what's a lot or a little because like I just don't know like what certain things are worth. I'm in like the best way. I cannot believe they sold this for $300 million.
Yeah.
Like those are like the runs of films at the box office. Like there are movies that make less money than like what Kiss made. I'm good for them. $300 million. That's and especially if you're saying like Motley Crue is worth or what was like 150, like maybe what is Kiss is a little bit more because like the character designs and like that's an
Yeah.
extra layer or whatever. But good for them on one hand, they got their money. On the other hand, yeah, it feels weird to think that they don't own it. That
I
is an interesting feeling.
I think it said somewhere that they are retainers the wrong word. Like they're like consultants, like, hey, we're gonna do this Revlon makeup thing. I don't know like what their veto power is anymore.
Oh,
I
okay.
think they're
Okay.
like they're gonna maybe consultants is the right word. Like, and I didn't say it. Pop House, the company that is doing the avatars, bought, and I kind of had a
Mhm.
feeling. I'd be lying if I said I was sure of it, but back in December when the avatars came out, I was like, that's interesting that Pop House is doing it. I wonder how much control they're going to have. And then, about 4 months later, we find out, oh, they did. So I'm betting clear back in December that was pretty much the done deal. They were just waiting to let the ink dry. Nick, what was your thought?
Yeah, much like you, I kind of forgot about it because it's been like I don't know how to put this to you guys, but I think we're all in the same boat. Thank God for this podcast. But this is the most like dormant Kiss I've felt in probably since before the reunion tour.
Hmm.
We just talked
Because
about this right before you got
I'm
on. Yeah.
sorry, yeah, that because
Yeah. No.
I've been sitting here and like I've got some other bands I discovered, and I'm so busy at work and catching up on some TV shows, and we've been trying to. We don't even go to the movies as much, but it, I like so it hit me out of the blue. I'm like, oh, it's true. I kind of had your reaction, Nico. Like I had forgotten completely about it, and I actually thought it might have been a farce. But
Hmm.
when that headline popped and you could see it was a credible one, yeah. I mean, I don't know where the value is there. We could get into it a little bit more. Right off the bat, it seems like an extreme amount of money for I think what they might get in return on it. I'm so confused, Rob, too. And I tried to look this up before the podcast. I got busy, but I don't know if they own if it includes all the music and it's the whole thing because there was some ambiguity there in the article about, like you said, the Gene and Paul still having, but some kind of a right or some ownership. But listen, no one's given them 300 and they're vetoing
Yeah.
anything that this company
Yeah. That
really
this
wants to
company
do. You
does.
understand? It's got to be like something way out of left field that Paul and Gene could they're defaming or they're doing, something to ruin the credibility of Kiss by profiting off it. So they're not having a lot to say with what goes on because you don't get that kind of coin and carry that kind of veto power. Because I think guys like Sting and Bruce Springsteen and them, as you're watching TV now, you'll hear songs pop up a little
Hmm.
bit that you didn't see that, especially with Mr.
Mm.
Springsteen, who's come 180 with in his career here with a lot of stuff like that, and you start to hear certain songs. Damn, you heard some Van Halen on a what was it on a Chick-fil-A commercial or I was something
Yeah,
bizarre, and then oh no, it was Applebee's. It
that's
was
right.
all you could eat
Applebee's,
Applebee's.
wings. Yeah, right.
Slapplebee's is putting up Van Halen. What song?
A jump.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. You'll
But they
jump into
wouldn't
our
let
new
but
wings.
they wouldn't let Ben Affleck and Matt Damon use it in the movie Air. You know that story, right?
They didn't let him use it in
They
No.
air.
wanted that to be the song. the last song, Jump, and they wouldn't let him use it. So they used Born in the USA, right? Didn't they use that
Yes,
instead, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
was
Yeah,
born in the USA.
Honest to God, it was
Wow.
supposed to be Jump. They wanted it to be Jump.
which would have been so poetic.
Yes, it would have,
That's crazy. I
So
didn't
I
know
don't know, the
that.
ghost of Eddie or his kid
Yeah.
Oh, Wolfie.
or Uncle Alex or
Hey,
whatever,
it could be Alex. He may have.
Yeah.
He probably has more say in what's going on, and well, probably Wolfie too,
Yeah.
to some
We'll
degree.
do that. We'll talk about that one day too.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to Wolfie. He's a technical Oscar nominee.
technical.
Technical Oscar nominee. He did the guitars for I'm Just Ken.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
That's right.
Just Ken. It was not Slash. They just had Slash come in for the solo for the Oscars.
Oh.
Yeah,
I guess. Allegedly.
that's the show, folks. Thanks for watching. No.
Thank you for
That's all.
listening.
That was the most important part. Wow, I feel like that actually didn't hit. Damn.
You know, as we were, as you guys were talking, I was trying to scroll through. I'll have to probably put it in post or do something to try find more information. But that starts to open up because there was something about the music. I think Universal holds the music rights, but because the two are so tied together, there is Mr. Crusoe's rear.
I don't know what he's doing, man.
A bunch of LPs just fell. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
I heard a
dude.
weird noise.
Rob, I'm sorry. I couldn't hold
I heard
it.
a weird noise, right? You're talking. I'm like, and I have them in the plastic
You gotta
sleeves and all
start
that.
story over,
And I'm
dude.
like,
I'm sorry.
oh, on the floor there looked like there's some my LP records in there all scratched. I don't
Dude, no, Rob, you gotta save this clip and show him
can
that. You
save
don't
it,
know what
yes.
it looked like. That was so funny,
Listen,
dude.
no
like-
LP. I will always listen to me, Rob. I will always rescue a fallen LP.
I will
I don't
too.
know about you guys, but there's
Sure,
people I
man.
wouldn't help up.
Oh,
Listen
that's
to me.
so funny.
There's fallen people
Oh,
I would
my
not
God.
help
Right.
up if they fell
Guys,
down.
this episode is gonna be gold for
But
people.
an LP
Oh, man.
falls on my watch, you better believe I'm going to be there and I'm going to pick up that LP.
One day, Nick is going to give you a grandchild. Your grandchild's going to
Oh,
walk
God.
by and just so much graze the album cover will trip and
Yeah.
fall. You will pick that kid up and go, move.
Move,
grab
but you
your
gotta
LP.
save the LP.
What did I tell you
Yeah.
about my record?
High up those LPs go.
That's right. Yeah, we were talking
All
once on
right.
a show and I saw my LPs shift on a peripheral and I lost completely what Nico was saying. I'm like, what moved back
Yeah.
there?
What's going on, right?
Well, speaking of vinyl and LPs, of
Sure.
how much this is tied to like the intellectual property and having the logos. People are pointing it out. You've probably seen it on Twitter and Facebook. There's a shirt going around the Canadian Walmart that has the Rock and Roll Over logo on it, and it says Kiss at the top, and I forget it's got flames or something on it, and the bottom says Dynasty, and people are saying, "Way to go, Pop House!" Like,
Oh, wow.
where is the person that Walmart's got the licensing to be able to do stuff, so now it's Pop House getting it, but where's the overseer of going? You can't put the Rock and Roll Over logo artwork with the Dynasty logo on something else. So people are like, how far is this going to shift off between, hey, we're going to have Kiss cereal, but then you've got the music tied to the IP still, but yet it's its own entity at the same time. So there's talk of there being music. Let's go music aside. What do you think Kiss is going to be offering, or the brand now is going to be offering us for music? Is mucus is mucus going to be the focal point? Music going to be the focal point, or are we moving to Hollywood cartoons
That's a
and
great question.
merchandise?
Yeah,
I go ahead. You go first because I have my ideas. Obviously.
No, I think obviously I do think it's more of a combination of the two. I definitely think you're gonna hear songs show up, and honestly, rightfully so. I've said a few times. I think there was a show where I said like a couple times where I thought like a Kiss song was perfect, and I don't know why they didn't use it. So maybe they will now. No, I think there are people out there who want to do something with those four characters. Which is what, honest to God, I thought the avatars were at first. I thought, oh, it was like a virtual world, like a Fortnite, or was it like a Fortnite skin collaboration or whatever?
Yeah.
But I do think you might see that start happening. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more comic books made, if I don't know if there's anything in fashion that comes from them, right? But I can see some sort of like wanting to use those four characters for something. Who knows? Maybe someone will pick up like an animated film that's like an ode to, Kiss Meets the Phantom or whatever. So I don't know, Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think the main thing this was done is for those avatars and for that show
Hmm.
that whether you're for it, against it, whatever, it's going to happen. And they'll probably, it'll probably be located in one or two area, one or two regions of the United States and play for a while. Um, as much as that doesn't appeal to me at the moment, I'm watching all my beloved rock bands, just kind of the Stones are going to be here probably for the last time. I'm watching Springsteen on tour. I watched the Billy Joel show the other night. I see
Mm,
Sting. There's a lot of these guys that are still out there, but in 10 years, they're not going to be, and nobody really replaced them, right? We're
mm.
also getting older too, which is what confuses me with this Avatar thing because Nick, somehow they're going to have to get it to appeal to a younger,
Hmm.
sort of the nostalgic thing, but still hit home with the younger generation. So, is that in line with some advertising campaign from some big brand that
That's
wants to
yeah,
that wants to
that's a
do
great
some kind
point.
of campaign with them and then be a part of the Avatar? See, that's my big play in this thing because and again, we should probably talk about the other stuff, like you said, the music and all that, but that stuff's not going to generate a lot of money like those Destroyer box sets and all those kind of gimmicks. Those are just really, that's like, giving free drinks at a bar. That's just like you put it out there, people buy it. You stimulate the hardcore fan base and kind of keep the name. So I'm thinking, Rob, as I throw this to you, it's a bigger thing. It's the show and
Yeah.
somebody's going to step forward. I don't know if it's Coca-Cola or like Chevy or who knows, some maybe old American brand is going to, be a part of that show. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
cross
Yeah.
promotion and along with that show. And Nick, you merchandise, video. I think the sky's the limit. I just don't know that it's going to be that big. That's my only problem. I know where they
Mhm.
want to go, but I don't know. Is that going to work? I don't know.
Do you, I know I'm trying to word this right. Is it like Beatles love in Vegas? Like the show's in Vegas and then maybe that's in Madrid or wherever. That Gene had said at one point, like this show could be in four places at one time, but it's something you've got to go to. You've got to make it's going to be in Chicago and it's going to be there for a year and a half, and people are just going
Yeah.
to go there
Mm.
and then it goes somewhere else, or it's in Vegas and only
Okay.
Vegas. And if you want to see Kiss, that's how that's how and where you go and do that thing. So what's the thing that keeps Kiss going? Like the Elvis estate, every once in a while you're doing, hey, we got a super deluxe remaster of the 90th release of You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. Like how many just versions
Well,
of Destroyer box
yeah.
sets? So us Kiss fans that have been on for the ride from 74 up till now or whenever you got on, are we now the boomers in the Kiss fandom? Like I remember Kiss when like my nieces and nephews that are, 13, 14, and even down to 6 and 7. What world do they grow up in when they get to be our age and go, oh yeah, Kiss to them is this. It's no longer
Hmm.
people playing music. It's the song that they hear at the amusement park in Disney that,
Sure.
it got sold to that. And all you're ever hearing is love, like the set list that we've heard these last 4 or 5 years. That's the Kiss songs in perpetuity from now until
Mm.
the cows come home. You know, we talk about set list fatigue. When you go see this Avatar show, you're not going to hear Jungle, you're not going to hear Hooligan, you're not going to hear,
Yeah.
you're going to hear the songs that we've heard forever. And the bones, I think, that get thrown is the, hey, here's a show from Des Moines, 1984 with Bruce Kulick in the band, and that's the, like you said, the free drink. That's the, I'm the DUI. I'm getting free soda tonight. So you're giving that to keep music out, but
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too, Nick, I'm just, we're all this great brainstorming. Like to me, over the last 10, 15 years, I think in the cinema has seen some success with rock biographies, right? I
mhm,
mean,
Yeah.
you had the Elton John movie, you had the Freddie Mercury movie. What am I missing? There was more than that, right? I mean, maybe that's all there was. I mean, I don't count the Motley Crue on Netflix. That
Who
was
yeah,
did
I don't.
Elvis?
So like,
You said
what
Elvis,
I
right?
mean, yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's where I was
yeah,
trying to get to. Elvis, look what the Elvis movie did. It took people like my son Nico and my daughter Sam, who
Yeah.
they didn't know. I mean, certainly they
I
know who Elvis is. They've seen him in pictures, but they cast a young guy, a great actor who they kind of knew growing up with on the Disney Channel.
mhm,
yeah.
And not only they went to go see the movie, and it was a pretty good movie. And now Nico and Sam, I know, listen to Elvis once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I don't understand. They talk about a Kiss movie. It sounds very cheap when Doc talks about it because
yeah,
when you see Scorsese the other day, we've always talked about how the hell, he's been trying to make this Frank Sinatra movie for like
Yeah.
25 years. There's a little blurb now that maybe it's going to come to fruition. Like, I would be, if I was a studio right now, I would checking and seeing how there's a little bit of death of the superhero stuff, but some stuff resonates. I would love to do a Kiss movie, man.
Yeah. I think the
I'd
biopic.
cast four like pretty well-known guys too. And I think you said this, Nico. I don't want to steal your idea, but you should elaborate. You just want it to be from the beginning, right? To the
I've always said the
let it be gritty,
coolest.
but family like them
Yeah.
fighting, you got the two Jewish guys, you got the Italian
Mhm.
Irish guys, and New York. Go ahead.
The problem with a lot of these movies, even though I really loved Elvis. I really like Rockin' Man. Bohemian Rhapsody, I think like a little bit less than most people, but it's still, I know it's interesting. When they do the ones that try to cover the whole story, I feel like you automatically run into
Yeah.
problems. But the Springsteen one, I'm interested in,
mm,
Dad,
It's a
because they're
segment
only
before
doing
they're
it's
doing the
just a
time
small part.
before he hits it big with that's
Yeah.
it.
See, now
Nebraska was
that's
actually
interesting.
born in the USA. You know that, right, Rob?
no, this is the first.
Nebraska. We'll talk about that one day. There's a version of Born in the USA that is just solo. It doesn't sound anything like Born in the USA.
Oh wow,
So he was at a point in his life where he was finally successful coming off the river, and he's gonna do a full band album, and we'll talk about, but he winds up creating these songs and just doing this solo album. But then that album, a lot of those leftovers wind up going on Born in the USA, are redone with the full E Street Band,
mm,
and it's arguably become the biggest, obviously one of the biggest American albums of all time, and the album that really launched him to superstardom.
Mhm.
But Kiss, man, how interesting would that movie be?
Just the first
You
year
got
it
the
ends
four of
right
those guys before they
yeah.
meet, right, Nick? Go ahead.
hmm
Right?
No, and I would always end it right before one of the first shows or right before Kobo or like dramatize it, be like it was
I think
right
you could
before
do it
they
to where
did
they're not
Kiss Alive.
successful,
Yeah.
and they're
I
ready to
think
give up, and
ending
they do
it
a live, and then they walk out, and then you just, you could end it there,
and like the ending shot is just them putting on the face paint for the first
sure.
time and walking to a stage and it does the you wanted the whole spiel and then the credits start when you hear like the intro to Deuce or something. I've always said that would be interesting, but
Well,
I feel like their movie would be. But I'll tell you what though, it's better for them to do it that way because if they try to cover the whole thing, man, all that Ace and Peter stuff is going to get awkward, especially if Paul and Gene have control. So, like, I don't know
I
if
don't know, man.
they would
You
ever
got,
I
let that
think
type of
yeah.
movie happen.
Go ahead,
I
Rob.
I think you take it to Alive. Them you
Yeah,
so
that
that
would
way
be
you
cool.
get it, you get to see them and they're trying. They do that first album, fail. Do the second, not fail, but we know
Yep.
the
That's another
story.
great story.
They
Yeah.
they get told in a business meeting, we're going to do this double live album. This is probably going to be the kiss of death. We're putting all of our money onto it. They walk on stage and you hear the opening of Deuce, the curtain fades, and then you get the shot of, Alive goes to sell blah
Right.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Just like in the movie Air, where they start that, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get all the blurbs at the end about the statistics. You didn't need to, that the shoes came out. You know what I
Show.
mean? You never see that in them. I spoiled it. I'm sorry. Please. I think you're gonna have to edit this. Or
I'll do
No,
some
you're
editing.
fine.
Yeah.
It came
But
out 2 years ago. You're good.
yeah. I mean, Rob, I think it's so. When you hear $300 million and you say, well, major motion picture, cinema, yeah, there could be a nice return on that. I would love to see that. It's just got to be done like by somebody. It's got to be like budget. Not that it's got to be big budget. Actually, you can make the movie for not a lot of money, but I want quality people to do it. I don't want it to be a
Yeah, I'm
stream.
worried.
I
Does
think
it
you could
sound
get
like
an
it's going to
audience.
be
I think you could
small?
get an audience to see, but you got to cast. Obviously, you got to cast some talent in there. You got to,
His son could, Gene's son could
no,
play
no,
him,
no, no,
though,
no.
but
You don't.
no,
I don't want.
no.
Yeah.
You got to get like, I'm just gonna say this. I don't mean this, but like Jeremy, what's his name? Jeremy from the Bear.
Jeremy Allen White.
Right. I mean, he would be a great Peter Criss. You got
Sure.
to cast guys that prominent actors.
Yeah.
This is a nice role for them. It's they're stepping into characters. They don't. It's not War and Peace. It's not Oppenheimer. But
But at the same time, it
good
can't be.
quality. We've been making musical, right? The Doors,
Mhm.
right? They've been making musical biographies since the beginning of music. So why can't they make a good one about Kiss? And why can't it be successful? Why can't it be a movie that does a few hundred million at a box office?
I think so. I think it would make people interested, especially if you marketed the movie as like, here's how they got to the four
Sure.
characters.
And there's a lot of adversity there, and just you could really do it good. And it doesn't have to be a particular offensive movie or foul. I mean, sure, you got to be gritty and some language and all that, but it's not really a crazy story either with drugs or anything like that.
No.
I mean, it's so, I mean, again, you start with these guys driving, or, Paul's a cab driver, Gene's a teacher,
Yeah.
so I mean, it could
Yeah.
be good.
I mean, you could start at Gene and his mother fleeing Israel
sure you could.
Yeah.
to come here. See,
Yep.
start in the concentration camps, Paul getting bullied, Ace doing Ace, Peter. It'd be really kind of fitting just to start with like a Peter and him just failing after band, and about half.
It's a great story, and it's a
Yeah.
story that people like. I mean, it's a story that, with the right people, done the right way, I think the way I see the movies turning here a little bit, where people are starting to get interested in some of these rom-coms and some of these biographies that do well. I mean, I think it would be good, and I think it would play into what this company bought them for, and I think it would play into how do you get people to like Kiss. Rob, you said it. How do you get the 13, 12-year-olds now, the 20-year-olds now? How are they ever going to want to buy a ticket to go see a virtual antiquated rock show, right? But state of the art with stuff maybe we haven't seen. Maybe they're performing above you. Who know? Who really knows what it's going to bring? But
I wonder if music is secondary. Like, is there that much vested interest in the makeup? And now, like, for 20 years, Nico, you've never known any version of Kiss live other than Eric Singer, Tommy Thayer, Paul Stanley, Gene
Correct.
Simmons, and people are like, "Oh, this, that, or the other." The who's underneath the makeup now no longer means anything. Like, they could take the avatars and you go, "Okay, that's still Eric Singer's mo-caption face. That's still Tommy Thayer," or do they become an amalgamation? It's just a humanoid body in the Catman makeup or do you still identify that that's still Paul Stanley, that's still Gene Simmons, and the next thing, like, oh, now they've got Eric Carr in there, then they've got Vinnie Vincent, they do Mark St. John. But I'm trying to figure out, like, for 300 million, what is it that you expect that you're going to do with that, for people to go,
yeah,
all the things that Kiss was going to try and do, the Kiss amusement park and different things where we would sit back and go, they're sitting on gold for Kiss fans, releasing video and music. Are we thinking too small, that the music is such a small portion of it, it's what these characters can become. And Gina said, they're moving into superhero world. Are we going to see them battling beings from outer space?
That would be sick for like an animated movie, dude. No, I would be so into that. I
But
would be really into that.
does the band that we know it cease to exist? They have now become
Yeah.
something else, and the music for the thing that we're seeing is their own music.
Yeah.
They're not scoring.
I don't think the band it's just different now. I mean, that's only going to live on in the archival stuff that they put out. That again is not, people think like those box sets and stuff sell like 1 million copies. I don't even know if they sold 100,000 copies, 50,000. It's not that much, so I really believe that I think the show is going to be like something just spectacular, like all encompassing, like you're a part of it. Like I said, like these things look real and they incorporate imagery into the songs. Maybe got a thunder. It's like you guys are talking about, there's an actual, I don't think it's animated. I think it's in this show.
I want to shoot down the UFOs with Tommy.
When you see what
I want to shoot down the UFOs with Tommy. He goes, "Hey kid, catch," and they hand you a guitar, and you go.
This seems like an appropriate time to. Apparently Rob's going to see Tommy Thayer.
No, that's a funny
Saturday
joke,
night.
dude.
Wait, what's going on over here?
No, that's a joke.
Complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Listen, I'm just telling you guys that this show it's all going to play into this show because it's going to be the type of show then that a 12-year-old kid's going to walk in and his senses are going to be blown because you've got these superhero holograms that are playing these catchy rhythms and then maybe fighting, like you guys are saying, dragons and demons or whatever it is, because we can't. Here's my point. When you see that sphere in Vegas and what U2 did, now that's U2. I'm not saying Kiss can draw. It's going to be smaller, but picture like a scaled down version of that. Look what they do with these movies with green screen. I mean, everybody always says like, why did you make that? It was a green screen. They're like, what's a green screen? Did you ever watch the news? Yeah. Why? You ever watch the weather?
Yeah.
That's a green screen. They're like, so I mean, just picture that technology on these LED things behind them and imagery. I'm trying to pump myself up for it because I can't in God's name figure out what anybody would buy $300 million. And then
let me tell you what's funny though.
What?
You know what I was just gonna ask?
What?
That question, like I couldn't tell if you're just like doing this for content or not, because you've been podcasting for a while, and I will say I will compliment everyone on Rob's been doing it for longer than us, but just to talk about you for a second, I do think you're pretty good at it. But Rob, for a second, I'm like, wait, is he excited for the Avatar show? I could swear we have a whole podcast. I swear there's a whole podcast where he says otherwise. I was going to stop him and say, wait.
I missed them. I told you it's like, this is good tonight because like I've been so bored and so not interested.
And now he's so bored. He's ready to see the Avatars.
And I'm flooding my mind with what are they going to do with this money? And I did catch a Doc McGee was on a couple of shows. I didn't watch the whole interview with him. It was more centered on Bon Jovi one, but he is talking. They're talking about this show. Mm-hmm. That seems to be so. All of us, they want. Oh, are we going to get a rock and roll over box set and all that? That's probably going to come, but I mean, that's not what the focus is. Rob's like, am I going to get some trading cards for? For Carnival of Souls?
Yeah.
It's like, no, Rob.
Can I get the Carnival of Souls version of these buttons that I got in Chicago? I mean, I think the funnier question is, this is a weird divergent here. Going to the Avatar show, and in my mind, I go to a Kiss show, I'm buying merchandise that's got Eric and Bruce and Tommy, like everybody on it. Now you're buying merchandise from a thing that literally does not exist. But how many Batman t-shirts do I own? How many Spider-Man? Like Spider-Man is not a real thing. People have embodied that character. Well, I ruined it. That's bad. You got to talk to your dad tonight. But I don't think this version of Kiss is for us. We're the ones that
Yeah.
may be in not begrudging might be right. Let's see how this is.
Why
It's
are we
gonna
going to play this back in 2 years, Rob? When all of us and
we're gonna be like, that's
Gander and everybody
amazing.
were at the Nick were at the Avatar show.
Yeah, we're at the
About
Avatar.
1,200 about in for about $1,200 a piece
Right.
and buying merchandise up the
You
Rob's
want
at the table buying the Avatar drum head,
I'm buying the Avatar
the
drum.
drumsticks from the
let
Avatar.
me let me ask you both this just to kind of pivot.
Yeah.
What Rob's exact point just made me think of something. We do become, he's right, man. Like if they were to ever catch some sort of legacy mainstream popularity and recognition in some other way, right? And we now become like the old Kiss
The
fans, right?
orators,
Like
the
Kiss,
elder.
right? But it's like people say this all the time, like, oh, like it's not our stuff anymore. Like that really would be, we would be
Yeah.
joining those people who really see things change. Now, part of me also is like maybe I don't want it to happen because I do think I will have that level of anger. You know, sometimes when like people hop on something and you were there first and you're kind of like annoyed at the new people, man, like if like for some reason like kids and teenagers and like high school, college parties and stuff and people all cosplaying as Kiss and it's like this big thing, I think I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be like, dude, you could have done this when they were here. We could all
Yeah.
been going to shows, more people. Granted, I love the way my Kiss journey has turned out. I'm not saying I wanted this, but like, of course, I think when you like something, you kind of want everyone
Yeah.
else to like
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be the coolest thing in the world if on Halloween, at like a high school party, there's 10 people in Kiss stuff or small kids doing it would be so adorable. So I don't know, but I think I would be hyped that they're living on and happy for them. But man, I think I'll be jealous. Like, nah, man, like I was at the shows. You people don't even know what this is. You're joking. I was doing the frozen yogurt thing when I was like 15, trying to be
Yeah.
cool like Gene, thinking I would do it on Halloween, but getting too scared to actually do it. Man, I should have.
My mom was making Jello pudding pops before you could actually buy them in the store. Like, "Ugh," but I heard somebody on another podcast. I'm not gonna say who it was because I can't remember. So I would love to give credit where credit's due. But somebody said they're a band. They happen to dress up like Kiss is ceasing to become a band. And I feel like this is the Dark Knight moment
Mm,
becoming something greater. I boo
Yeah.
on me for not getting the line correct, that, it's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
Yes.
This in a corny, cheesy way, this is a defining moment for Kiss. Is this them jumping the shark and 2 years from now we go, oof, you should have just let it die and be just like Elvis and be like every other band that's come before you. But I think there's something greater that Kiss is trying to pull off this thing of like we're gonna take this a step farther that no other band has ever done. But I think there's a 10 to 20 year span that we're gonna have to get out of the way. And this is gonna be it's almost like after the prequels, the Star Wars movies that came after being in the theater, going, this isn't my Star Wars. And somebody
Yeah.
looking at me going, you're right, it's not. It's grown into something else that we couldn't perceive what this was going to become.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like with some of the stuff they put out, the soundboards and these box sets, I mean, I think they've done a fairly decent job, but maybe there is now somebody, an archival person other than Tommy and Universal to maybe make these things a little bit better too. I mean, I don't know that for me, all that other stuff we talked about, I know represents 98% of it, but I didn't see anything in the articles and I was really looking for stuff to find out how it plays into the music. And nobody really seems to have that answer. The
Mm-mm.
company
yeah.
that brought them even didn't really define it explicitly and say it because to me it would be like, okay, cool, we got all this money now. I'm going to hire one dude and he's just going to go in there and he's going to we saw what they put out, but we're going to make it even a little better. Maybe we'll mix it a little bit, or maybe we'll put a little bit more money into the things to make them just a little bit better. maybe we'll include vinyl with the box sets now and make them like better than they were, right? Because we both admit those two box sets they were okay. I mean, they weren't like, I think parts of them were great, but there was enough mediocre stuff in them that it was kind of like it wasn't really worth the money. I mean, to me,
We didn't
again,
we didn't talk about it, but the Creatures of the Night box set that they re-released with vinyl in it for $1,000.
and it's still there, right?
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, and I think they were like I see it all over Facebook and Twitter. I mean, it's a really whatever. I mean, look, there's a lot of things they could do. We talk about it, and I'm sure I was going to tell you guys too. Now that I think we might have done this before, but it's been a long time too. We should probably do a show follow up to where talking just about box sets and music, like what we'd like to see, video music.
Yeah.
Each pick our one choice for box set, couple off the soundboards and some videos because we got so spoiled 2 years ago, and I knew it was going to stop, but I'm really surprised now. We're already into the end of mid of April, and I keep hoping like this stupid thing one day, Rob, you're going to text me. I'm going to almost get in an accident, and you're going to be like the Sydney, Australia off the soundboard thing is coming out, or there's a Crazy Nights box set coming out, or a Revenge box set, or something like that. I keep waiting. Like I'm a guy that I'm always on Twitter, and I go to Kiss My Wax a lot on
Yep.
Facebook because those guys are pretty foretelling, and you could get some good clues. But boy, outside of the one anniversary of the debut album in this Creatures thing, and unfortunately, I wasn't interested in the 50th anniversary of the
First
because
album.
you had to buy it with a T-shirt, right? You couldn't even buy the
Yeah.
album. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
And to me, that was a missed opportunity. I would have spent I would have spent $40 on the album in a
I'd have
heartbeat.
spent 50 with the
50
shipping and stuff.
50
Sure, I would have got
shipping,
it all
but
day long.
I don't want to be forced into to buy the the long
Did you
sleeve
see it,
t-shirt.
Nico? There was a long sleeve tee. I mean, it was like
Yeah, it was all right.
yeah, but it was like an $80 bundle or whatever, and then you add the shipping and everything. You're at $100, and you're like, it comes to the house, and you're like, really,
Comes with Barbie's
give me a
Dream House.
swirl. Give me a nice black. Give me a nice marble orange swirl.
Yeah, give me something.
I don't even need the shirt. I'll pay Rob. I'll pay $75 for that.
Yeah.
You can keep your shirt, but
Keep the shirt and sell on eBay. I mean, you said something that really spurred an idea that just kind of went into Never Neverland. But I mean, just oh yeah, wondering about off the soundboards and other box sets. I wonder if a lot of this is still tied with the ink not drying with because I think on a previous show last year we were talking about like the office soundboard stopped because there was rumors of them selling the IP. So I wonder if all of that was folded in. Doc McGee made it sound like there's more of that stuff coming. They're waiting for things. So I'm wondering what the back half of the year, because you've got 2 years till we see whatever this Avatar thing is going to become, and maybe even a year out, we might start getting some type of teasers. Until then, what are you doing you can't just keep putting out t-shirts. You're going to have to start rolling back in anniversaries, start putting out music to still keep mining and holding on to the fans.
I mean, Nico, maybe we should just do it here. Like, what would make you happy right now? Like, you wake up, like, what would be like, oh, that's really cool. Like,
for this band,
Dad, like, I'll split the 400. I'll split the 400, or I'll do the, whatever. It's just a double CD or something, or
there's no.
And don't
live
tell me
show.
it's the final show for Madison Square Garden, because if they put that thing out, I swear to God, I will be so angry. If they put that
I'm going to call it that. The first thing that's going to come out is going to be the Madison Square Garden show. But go ahead.
Go ahead, son.
That's a tough question. Man, I think like maybe like in it's almost too specific though. I would say like a vinyl of the Summit and you get that plus, it's like a vinyl of the Summit, and it comes with a little CD of it too. And, there's a shirt, you
Yeah,
know,
that's pretty
just
exciting.
something
I'll give you
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I would
like
be pretty.
that,
Yeah, I would be pretty excited.
because like
But
we
that they,
have a
but
lot of
they did,
stuff.
but they did some work to it though, right? A little bit. You don't want like
Oh yeah, no,
you
no,
want
no.
like a
I
little
want it to
remastered.
sound,
Yeah, like they played with the
yeah.
sound a little bit, and they maybe
Yeah, like
released a
I don't care
video.
if
But
they like re-recorded it last week, as long as it's that set list, like I don't care as long as
He
I get
still
that
needs
set
I
list
Stole Your
live.
Love. Yeah.
he's
Yeah, just
also
like
like,
that set
you're
list
like, that's
live
not
is
the I
just to
stole your
me.
love. You're like, this is. Then we're all
I'm
gonna
like,
be
yeah,
mad.
no,
You're like,
Paul.
it's bullshit, man. You're like, that's not the long opening.
Can
They
you imagine Paul
re-recorded
like
this.
with his voice now on some of these
Yeah,
though?
yeah, yeah, right, right.
You Seal, good to see you, the Seal. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't
Yeah,
even be able to hit that part
no,
anymore. No disrespect though, but like that, like it would be something like that specific. Because what are we gonna do? Even if there's like another box set for one of these albums, like what are we gonna do? Right? I don't know.
how about
That's
you,
all I could
Rob?
think
Rob,
of from a
what
music
would be
standpoint.
something right now that you'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, that's
I'm
that. I
gonna
get it.
I'm gonna go simpler. Just not resurrect. Just continue to keep putting out the Office soundboards.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have
that's
50 years. You could mine shows from now till the cows come home with colored vinyl, like you said, Nico, t-shirts, buttons, pins, hats, or whatever, but just putting out some form of music or what would really kind of like you could put out an album of new music that was demos or songs that were worked up that didn't quite make the album. Some people, Paul was always like, well, if it didn't make the album, there's a reason to not.
Yeah.
That's as far as new, but I would go simple and off the soundboards. Start finding unique shows or different lineups that people just didn't get to see. Do the Eric Carr, Bruce Kulick, do a revenge show, the Australian, Eric Carr, the Palladium, Eric Carr's first performance with Kiss. That
Yeah.
that
I
that
mean,
to me, like Kiss is a live band. I would hone in on live shows. I think
mm,
you could come out every year, every quarter, and have something from almost every decade. Here's the 70s, the next one is an 80s, then it's a 90s, then it's a 2000s or whatever, and mix it up. And for the next 2 years until this thing is ready, we'd be primed. We'd be getting Kiss stuff this whole entire time. And then the Avatar show is ready. And that's a good way to introduce people that, hey, Kiss is
mm,
still here. We haven't gone anywhere. We're just in a different form.
yeah, I mean, I'm right with the both of you guys. Like what would excite me would be a physical release. I mean, I know physical media they say is dead, but I think it's slowly making a little bit of a comeback here.
Mhm.
Um, but I also think because they've been dormant for a while that it's got to be something that is going to appeal to every Kiss fan. And I think they've got to go back to the classic era,
Mm-hmm.
which would be those, 75 to 79. And I think I would agree with Nico. I think it's time to do the video audio together. If they could do that or just do one and then another show or whatever. But I mean, like for me to get something from Rock and Roll Over or even because I mean the 50 years kind of came already and went with the debut album, and by the time it's 2024, next year's the 50-year anniversary right of Alive,
Mm-hmm.
2025. So I mean, there's a million things they could do, but God, I would love an Alive 2 package with or box set with the songs that didn't make Alive, like Take Me and Hooligan and Do You Love Me, and maybe release one of those Budokan shows that are in pretty good quality, just clean it
Yeah.
up a little bit. But that's me. Like right at this point now, I mean, we're so starved for Kiss, and I know you're an 80s guy, Rob, but if they did come out with an Asylum tour or like something like that, I think it would kind of be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. You know what I mean? And
you'd really,
I'm not
no, no,
saying
no. I get it.
anything like, even if it's Psycho Circus, I think everybody would be kind of like, oh, yeah, I mean, they've already done the reunion tour unless they were to do a video CD. But even anything post that, I think it's got to be like classic era.
Let me ask you both this. How much would you spend if they really did that streaming service thing that they hinted at, where you
Oh,
could log
Well,
in somewhere and watch or listen like almost
well,
any show they've ever done?
we've spent $89 a year for that Bon Jovi's club,
No, for that,
and
like,
now he's got a free thing going on. But so this is a great conversation. Have you dabbled in any of the backstage Bon Jovi stuff,
I didn't know it was
Rob?
available for
no,
free.
but I
It's
need
free.
to.
Really? No,
Okay,
I
I
need
need
to.
you to go through it, Rob. The problem is that it's a lot of incomplete stuff. So,
Mm.
and it's very unedited. But there's some great live footage on there. There's some great live tracks.
Do they have Hyde Park on
I
there?
would want kid. You couldn't charge for that. What John's doing, because it's good. As good as it is, it's better than what we paid for. But it's not good enough to pay for again, right? Unless
Mm.
you were going to be able to download stuff and get exclusivity like that. For Kiss, they'd have to upscale it a little bit and have a lot available. I mean, we pay $15.99 a month, right, for HBO Max and stuff. I mean, Nick, we would probably pay upwards of that if you
Well, we would split, which would
if
be
you had a nice catalog and then maybe like every month they release some new stuff, but they got to give some meat in there. There's got to be enough in
yeah,
there, like a comic, right? Like DC Comics or Marvel Comics. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to have everything in there, but you could start to. Rob, what a great idea! One month you focus on the Elder, you know, maybe, and then the next month you focus on Revenge, and you put a live Revenge show out, and in the meantime, you pay for having access to a lot of shows that are already available. They've threatened that to us so many times, Doc McGee, but again, I don't know where.
yeah,
And
that I would.
how much
No.
of that, like in licensing, like the Animalized Live and Uncensored from the 80s, who is MTV own that footage? It's like Sonic Boom and Walmart. Like
Yeah,
Kiss couldn't do anything with it because
there's a lot of things they can't do stuff
somebody
with.
else owns it. But how great would that be? Like, I mean, all of us spend time on YouTube just watching stuff endlessly to go, why go to YouTube to get all the hits and likes? Come over to KOL and then
Yeah.
ha pay some type of minuscule fee, just a monthly service
Be-
to be able
yes,
to mine through, like, hey, this month is hotter than hell. Any footage we have, alternate
Mhm.
studio takes,
the Winterland
live
show,
version,
put that on there, right? Like,
yeah.
because as much as we all want the best versions and you want to watch it in big TV, I can I've almost succumbed to the point now where I'm watching a lot of music videos and live shows on my phone or my
Yeah.
iPad.
Yeah.
I know, Nick, you are, but I mean,
Yeah.
I go to TikTok now. I never did that stuff before, and so like for me, yeah, we have Kissology, but you got to go, you actually got to take the time out to put it into the
Put it
DVD
in
player,
there.
and then
Have a DVD player in
then
the
you got
first
to
place
skip
anymore.
around because there's a lot of stuff on each DVD. If I had an online place to go right now, if they just put all the Kissology stuff online,
Yeah.
and you could watch it by chapter, and you could put your headphones on, and maybe they just upscale it a little bit, I would pay money for that. I
If
would
you
pay
could
money for
put an
that.
app, let me ask you this about the Bon Jovi thing, though. I think this is actually the reason why I don't use it is it's only available on like a computer, right?
No, I've watched it on my phone.
Okay, so there's
It's
like an
listen,
app where you
what
could
he
move
did is
anywhere. Okay.
impressive. The problem for me is that, and I'm kind of talking against what we're talking Kiss should do. The problem for me is that there's some really great stuff on there, but like even the shows he's got on there, they're like one track again. So like the video, you
Oh,
can't
like you
skip.
can't
He's got
skip.
Mm.
some
You
live
have to
shows on
watch
there,
the whole
but they're
thing.
not spliced. So, and then there's a lot of incomplete live stuff. There's some great demos on there. There's a lot of great picture content of lyric books, and they really have done a great job. And they're kind of like jumping all over the eras and doing it. There you go. You can go. You can do anything, Nick. You're going to enjoy
That's
it.
amazing.
You're
Bon
going to.
Jovi radio backstage with Bon
Yep.
Jovi.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
it's free. But I'm the guy that like I would like to own those live shows. I would like to listen to them cut up by track. I don't I don't want to
Same.
sit there. My time to record those and then do them on the Tascam recorder. Like I
Wait, so
have
the
no
Bon
patience.
Jovi one is free now,
Yes.
but you were paying for it.
Well, we were paying for access to get some live shows, right? And some videos.
But now it's all free.
Yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's impressive.
Yes. So, you could, I've found myself many a night here. Yeah, there it is right there. They have a nice day tour.
Wow.
Demos. Look at that, Nick.
That's
I've
cool.
gone on there and watched some videos and some shows at night. It's pretty cool. I'm actually complaining because they're doing it for free and I want Kiss to charge, but John's also there's a lot there. It's almost a sensory overload. And like there's a show, I think, from the 89 tour that it's not bad quality. And it's almost the whole show. But it's not mixed and it's a little rough. But those guys, man, they're in their prime. I mean, it's
I mean,
it's some
that's
it's
like
some
Kiss
great
back
stuff, man.
in the bootleg days where we would get a camera behind a pole and we'd be happy with that.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I don't know. I think there's a lot that can be done, but
Well, Kiss has every show. That's what Doc said. Since the reunion, they got everything. They got those big TV, like the ones they put on Kissology.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be cool to go back and watch the Horizon, the Allstate Arena from 1996, from 1998? I know I would pay money to do that, to watch that. Yeah. I would, I mean, or to be able to stream it or listen to it or download the audio from the board. So, there's a lot of avenues for them to do stuff. But again, I don't know what that costs to maintain, because look, I mean, and then you got guys like Springsteen that just release live CDs every month. Again, there's got to be a return here, and that company paid a lot of money to make money. They didn't just give $300 million to make Paul
just so they can own it. They want to start seeing revenue.
Right.
Can I tell you about something crazy?
Yeah.
And don't get mad at me.
No.
I can't guarantee that.
When Rob held up you were looking at the demo section of the app.
Yeah.
And there was, I saw, because I always will see this logo,
Mhm.
the Have a Nice Day
Yeah.
logo, the album cover was in there. And ever since he put that phone down until this moment, all I've been thinking about is how I do feel like that logo is still a top 5 album cover of all time for me.
It's a great logo.
That's
And
I
I'm
love
thinking
that.
right now, where am I going to get it tattooed on me?
I thought
I want that face. I want that square. It is so cool. Talk who came up with that? Like that's not John, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not the band coming up with that, right? So whatever intern came up with that.
There is and it's okay. We're set, right? It's okay. This is a free form. Right?
That's right.
No, now it's changed.
Rob's
to,
like, people don't understand when we do the after show thing, how Rob yells at you and I, Nick. Like everybody thinks he's this nice guy. They don't know that he critiques us.
You scoundrels.
Damn it, Caruso! I told you
do better.
To go off script.
Be better. I love when he tells
the
you
script.
There is probably a YouTube video of John. He hired a really famous guy. He was like an older guy with gray hair. He had his own talk show for a while, Rob. He did all the marketing for Have a Nice Day. And I think he talks about how John, designed that very simple cover with the smirk.
No, stop. Really?
Yes, I think so. Do you know how the Slippery When Wet album cover? Do you know that story?
Yeah, I know.
It's a wet trash bag, right?
You guys are fantastic.
Do you know why? Do you know why they went to the wet trash
because
bag?
there was a very risque original cover, right?
Right, but what about that cover caused? Because they shot the cover, they liked it, they did.
Wasn't it the pink or something? What was it?
They put a pink border around it, the record company, and John's like, "No, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
you changed my album cover,
right?"
So they took it away, found a wet trash bag, and went Slippery When Wet. Here's your record cover. To John going,
they already had like a couple 100,000 printed up already.
Yeah.
And they were in a hurry to get the album out because the single was #1. So John goes, "You want an album cover?" He went and got a listen, that guy, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've been listening to some stuff. And I don't want to get teary-eyed here, but we have to watch that documentary. I'm sure we're going to review that, right?
I need.
Yeah, wait, when does
is
that
it on
come out?
Hulu?
Or is it out?
Yeah, it's next. It comes out like next week, the 24th or something like
I'm
that.
gonna have to get Hulu.
4
It's on
hours.
Hulu. Yeah.
Maybe I'll
I'm
come
just
home.
telling you right now.
Maybe I'll
Doc
come
McGee
home
said
during the
right
week
now.
to watch it.
Doc McGee said on an interview today, and yes, Paul and Gene work hard, but he said nobody worked like John Bon Jovi. He says he never stops.
JBJ.
He never stopped. And he almost killed the whole band a few times, because he didn't want to stop. But it's a pretty impressive thing when you consider, and you hear John when he's young, and we know he's heavily influenced by Springsteen. But I mean, it's all he self-admits all that stuff, But how the hell did we get on the Slippery When Wet album cover?
The Have a Nice Day.
Have a Nice
cover.
Day logo.
Because
I held up the. I was
I'm
trying
gonna
to
tell you
find
right
out.
now, they Have a Nice Day tour. There are some banger live shows there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Yeah.
great set list, Nick, because
It was unbelievable.
we didn't know those
dude.
songs as much. Because
because after we gave one day we'll do like a whole career of Bon
after
Jovi.
Bounce,
we'll
right?
do-
We kind of
we
bounced
fell
a little
off,
bit. Yeah.
and was your pun intended there?
No, a little bit.
After Bounce, we bounced.
Bounce
for a
is
bit.
one of Rob's favorite
No,
songs.
remember
That's
what
one
was
of
it
Love.
that brought us back? It was MSG. It was the
MSG
release of
brought us back.
MSG
Yes,
brought us
yeah.
back, and that was
that
the
was the
first
Lost
time.
Highway tour, though.
Because I remember when
I
Lost
love that
Highway
DVD.
came
Oh,
out.
man.
Yeah, I remember when Lost Highway came out. We were mad they went country and never
Yes, we
listened to the
were.
album.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, that's actually a fantastic album.
It's a fantastic.
It is.
And
It's a great
and
album.
again, it kept the train. We talked about it on our great show with Steve. It kept the train.
It kept them relevant. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It really did. So,
Well, let me pull this. We've diverged. We've talked about Kiss
Yeah.
enough. This is actually probably going to bleed into a satellite show coming up. I think the working title of our satellite show is called The Replacements. More
I
on
love
is-
that. That's fantastic.
in a second, or in our next episode. But I just lost. Oh, Legendary. What is your anticipation level? A, do you like the song? We're on a Bon Jovi kick now, folks. So if you've tuned out, this show is about ready to end. What do you think about the song? And are you going to listen to any of the tracks? Or are you just going to buy it?
So here's the deal. Yeah, the song itself, I don't really care for.
Mm.
It's very generic to me.
That's what Stevie
As
said.
most of his stuff has been, probably since The Circle. Even though there was, a lot of repetitious stuff on some of those albums. But I know I've been following a few people that have heard Nico's laughing up in the corner there.
No,
I don't know what happened.
Hold on, Noah. Finish your thoughts. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'll explain.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hold
Did you have
on.
a vinyl fall too?
My
No.
vinyl's okay right now.
No.
But a couple people that have heard the album said that there are like a few really good songs on there. There are a few, like when you just see the title, you'll understand what the song is. There's a song called Kiss the Bride, and they're like, the lyrics are beautiful. They're like, but it is what it is. They're what?
Dude, that's why I'm laughing.
Why? You saw
I
the song?
read the track, dude. I have the track names, dude.
Let's
Are
read
you
them.
read them.
Let me, please,
Yeah, go ahead.
guys. Did you read any of these?
No.
Yeah, it's very cliche, and
I have
they're
that.
like Springsteen songs. Go ahead.
The first song. Well, first of all, the album's called Forever, and the album cover is him wearing a jacket that says Bon Jovi Forever.
Yeah, that's
I
all
mean,
right. So
she's-
that's good though. I like
it's
that.
like
Yeah.
cute. See, now that's
Yeah.
like, aw, dude. This track one, legendary.
Sure.
Track
That's
two,
the opening track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Track two, we made it look easy. Track three, living proof.
Yeah, that sounds like a Springsteen song.
Track four, waves. Track five, seeds.
Seeds is another Bruce Springsteen song.
Now these three in a row are
Okay.
unbelievable.
Go ahead.
Track six, kiss the bride.
Yeah, well,
no.
Track seven, the people's house.
the people.
Song eight, this is the one, walls of Jericho. Who in God's name is he to be writing about the walls of Jericho?
What's next?
Song 9, I wrote you a song.
Okay. That sounds like I write the
Track
songs
10,
that
Living
make
in
the
Paradise.
whole world sing.
Track 10 is Living in Paradise. Track 11, I
Wait,
don't know
that's
why
a David
this
Lee Roth song. Wait,
really
is
Living
he
in
covering?
Paradise.
Is this a cover album or what's going on here?
Track 11 just like aggravates me
11?
because like of
Rob,
course,
we're gonna have to
yeah.
throw two songs off this album.
Or,
buddy.
are we in bounce
3.
territory?
Ready. Track 11, My First Guitar.
Okay.
And track 12, Hollow Man.
Rob, want to do the 9 real quick with it? Just the title.
Through the Walls of Jericho. There's no way that song
Yes,
is good. There's no way that song is
That song
good.
that song will probably rip. I saw
That
Phil
song
X.
will probably
Battle
rip.
Pit will probably rip. I saw Phil X on Kenny Arnoff's podcast talking about doing the last few guitar parts for this album. And he's like, Bon Jovi, he's like, we're coming back. It's like it's more harder edge than the last couple albums. Just hearing Phil say that, I was like, good, finally, get back to Circle territory. But hearing those song titles, none of those make me feel like Phil X is going to be ripping any type of
what I
Bon
did hear
Jovi
about the
solo.
album, though, that it's not so much of a social commentary at all. It's really a celebration of the band and life experiences. So it's not. I think he's kind of gotten away from the
Man on the street.
political, the horror of the world stuff right now. Because at the end of the day, that's how I would like to see John go out, right? On an uplifting note, celebrating the legacy. And, he's always been a master writer of songs, even in the older albums like The Circle with Happy Now and stuff like that. I mean, John to me is like a Billy Joel, like a lot of our favorite guys. Like they seem like when they're writing, when you're listening to songs, sometimes you think it's about you, you think you're talking about your life a little bit. And that's most of our guys are like that, but those two guys are always, to me, maybe it's from where they're from a little bit or whatever. It just always made me feel like, like I could identify with the lyrics of a lot of Bon Jovi stuff. But then he started to get a little crazy, I think. Whatever your stance is on stuff or whatever, but I think he got to be too much into that, like trying to be like a U2 or something like that. And it's like, John, just write the hooks and, let's talk about love and family and happiness and perseverance and all that stuff. And right. I mean, the deep stuff on Bounce was good though. Like the Hook Me Up.
Hook Me Up. Oh yeah.
Undivided. That's some good stuff. We covered that, So anyway, I'm so glad we're right. What is
we're
this?
talking about John
Wanted Dead
John
or Alive,
Bon.
Wanted Dead on a Pod or
One Dead on a Pod.
Wanted on a Pod
Oh,
Alive.
that's a
or
good
whatever.
name.
Yeah.
Someone better have that.
On a
Wanted
steel
Dead on a
cast.
Pod.
Someone better have
steel
that.
cast pod.
There you
That's
go.
funny.
Well, unfortunately, this bar does not stay open all night.
It could.
Bounce, but
Cold gin.
yeah, cool. Yeah, that's right. But let us know down in the comments what you think of Kiss selling the IP, or if we did a Bon Jovi little stint there. Are you excited for Bon Jovi? And sounds like Aerosmith is going to get back out on the road, so it'll be interesting. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of our guys. I mean, I didn't get a chance to say this, but the rock community lost someone in CJ Snare from the band Firehouse.
That's a shame. He's a great singer.
Great band. One of those bands I never got to see, and I'm kicking myself for not having them, for not seeing them.
The big song was "Love of a Lifetime," right?
Love of a Lifetime, and Don't Treat Me Bad.
That's a really good tune, man. I forgot about that song till I saw that he passed away, and I gave it a listen. I've been playing it for a little bit now. Very good.
Yeah. But let us know before we get out of here. Caruso's, what's new on the Vigilante 1939 side? What do you guys got coming up?
We just did a show where we talked about
the Joker 2 trailer.
The Joker 2 trailer, which talking about music looks like it's going to incorporate who knows what, some old show tunes, maybe some classic songs or whatever. Take it away there, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're gonna hopefully be recording next week some Superman news, some Marvel, some DC stuff, all that good stuff. You could follow that at the Vigilante 1939. Myself at Nikko Caruso. Nikko Knows Film on TikTok. Dad, what's your other one?
I'm on Twitter at N Caruso Jr. And I'll be starting a podcast about the 1975. Me and a couple of teenage. I'm just kidding. What happened to Nico? Is he okay?
His vinyl fell over,
His
or
vinyl
he
fell over.
he fell over.
No,
And you
just
could,
kidding. It's all Kiss and rock. And Rob, we got some exciting things too, which is going to be cool here.
yeah,
In the absence of Kiss, I think you guys came up with a fantastic idea.
yeah. Just through, I don't want to spoil the guest yet, but just through a comment. Well, it came out of Van Halen 3 celebrating its 27th anniversary or
It,
whatever.
is it the 30? No,
No, it's
2024.
past the
No,
30.
it was 1998, Rob. You're right. I
90,
think
yes. Yeah.
like 26 years or
20,
something.
26. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 30. Yeah. And then the Motley Crue album with John Corabi on it celebrated its 30th anniversary. That was the 30.
Yes. Yes.
So I got a tweet from somebody that's like, dude, we got to have a podcast. We got to talk. And the comment that this gentleman made was Motley Crue should have changed their name when John Corabi came out and do their own thing. And then we started going down this rabbit hole. Well,
Yeah, I love it. I love
should
that. Yeah.
Styx
Yeah.
have changed their name, or Journey should have changed their name? Should AC/DC or Van Halen? So coming up on the next podcast, hopefully within a couple weeks here, we're going to do a satellite show like we've done with our opening act segment, which I want to get back to, where we
Mhm.
talk about a band like a Bon Jovi or a Def Leppard. But this is going to be looking at one of the lines we've been throwing around. When is a band no longer that band?
Yes.
Or it is that band, it was AC/DC still AC/DC when Brian Johnson came in? Was Van Halen still Van Halen? Was Kiss in these last 20 years still Kiss? What member can you replace that completely changes the whole dynamic, or what's a member that you can replace, like Whitesnake, where we've replaced every member but David Coverdale? So that's coming up on the next episode. We'll have a very special guest for that. Stay tuned for that. But this is where we're going to leave it on this episode. Check us out on our social medias. Get back with us and let us know what you think about Kiss selling their IP, and what's something that you're looking forward to, or is there any trepidations you have about Kiss stopping their touring entity, and we're now in this new Avatar world. Let Nick, Nico, and myself know. And on the behalf of Nick, Nico, and, well, me, you've been watching Right Between the Ice podcast, 3 generations of Kiss fans telling you why we love it loud. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.